Hi, welcome to Off the Plot. I'm your host, Ryan McKinley. Hi guys, welcome to episode 3 of Off the Plot. I'm here with one of my best friends, Skylar Allen.
Hello. It's me.
So Skylar and I have known each other for, 5?
We're going on 5 years
Going
now.
on 5 years, yeah. We were in the same sorority, and
we met in college from the same hometown, but
we actually had like a mutual friend, and she had told me about your Sky's the Limit like fundraiser at Fuzzy's.
Yeah. Did you go to that?
I did. I went to that,
so cute.
and then I got a t-shirt.
That's awesome. I love that. I feel like there's so many people now that I didn't know then that I know now that like have my t-shirt and stuff, and I think it's so cool.
It's so cool. So a little backstory on the t-shirt and what Sky's the Limit means.
Yes. I currently am, 5.5 years cancer-free.
Wow, it's been 5 years?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So January 17th will be like my 6-year diagnosis.
Oh my God.
Date.
Okay.
So let's see. I was a junior in high school going into my second semester, like the spring semester.
Yeah.
2018. And I mean, I guess we have to roll it back, right? To like when I kind of like thought some things were going down.
Yeah. What was like your first, like, when did you kind of realize something was wrong? Like, were you just having like pain? Because it was your legs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was all over. So I was like ended up being diagnosed with diffuse large B-cell non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a blood cancer like leukemia. So let's see, I was trying out for drill team going into junior year, and I needed a physical. So I went to Care Now because at the time we had Obamacare, which was like the insurance was Ambetter, and basically it doesn't like fully pay the doctors, so the doctors don't take patients with that.
Okay.
So at the time, I didn't really understand that, but I couldn't find a doctor that would like be in network. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for the physical, we just decided to do like, a visit at Care Now as if like you were to go for anything.
Just like a urgent care.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just pay that rather than like a regular doctor's office.
No, yeah.
So we did that, and I ended up meeting my current PCP. He was like one of the doctors at the Care Now.
Okay. What's a PCP?
Primary care physician.
Oh, duh.
It's okay. I learned so many terms I had no idea about. Anyways, he was opening his own private practice.
Okay.
And that's what led me to go to him. Basically, I was getting a physical, and I had swollen lymph nodes. This was in June of 2017, so 6-7 months before I was diagnosed. And everything was fine on the physical. I had just gotten back from a Young Life camp, but my lymph nodes were really swollen, like very, very swollen, to where when I went to school that year, one of my friends would make fun of how swollen my lymph nodes were on my neck and call me like spiny neck because of how much they like protruded.
Okay.
Like it looked like the bumps on your spine.
Really?
Yeah. Like, if you were to like hollow out, that's what it looks like all on my neck.
Well, I remember somehow, like, I think we were like had mutual connections, and so I had you on Finsta.
Yeah, and I was posting all about it.
Yeah, you would post, and like this was before you knew your diagnosis, and you would post videos of like how much pain you were in, or like your lymph nodes, and like they would be sticking out.
My doctor's appointments and everything.
Yeah,
I found those the other day, and I guess we'll get into that in a second, but there's a lot of things, how I was kind of like dealing with like whether or not I wanted to go through with that lawsuit for what had happened.
Yeah.
There was like so much proof of all of that, and just like little things that I'd forgotten about until I had seen like my Finsta drafts, and it was just like so much information that I'd been like, oh my God, that seems so distant.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the physical was fine, and basically the doctor was just like, you get, your lymph nodes swell up when you're sick, stress, lots of different things. So he was just like, if it's still like this in a month, come back. And the number one thing is that you want your lymph nodes to hurt and be tender and sensitive. Yeah. And when they're not, that's when it becomes like, a concern.
Oh, I didn't know.
So you want them to be tender, just like, these ones, they're. So, and mine weren't. It just felt like a bump, there was no like
just
pain
like
to it or anything.
Sticking out of your body.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So that was in June. September came around and my lymph nodes were just bigger than ever and I had more.
Yeah.
And it was just like bothering me because I knew it wasn't normal. But with the insurance issue, which we didn't really know was an issue until then, obviously.
Yeah.
My mom called like hundreds of doctors and nobody would take us.
Really?
So she started looking kind of like end of August, beginning of September. I finally got a doctor October 30th.
Okay. When did the pain initially start?
I would say lymph nodes came in June and the pain started in September.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit in August when like if I were to be sitting, any pressure on the bottom of my thigh would just shoot pain in my thigh.
Oh my God.
But it wasn't that bad. It was just like, oh, maybe I'm sitting in an uncomfortable position. And I remember those were kind of things that I was saying. Just like, why do my legs hurt?
Yeah.
But it wasn't anything like the leg pain that was to come.
Okay.
So that was in August-ish. I remember going to the doctor.
Yeah.
And the doctor telling me, so we were going to do a biopsy of one of my lymph nodes because they were swollen. So we had to do a sonogram, figure out which one.
Yeah.
They want to get like the biggest one for like most accurate.
Yeah.
So yeah, I first saw the doctor kind of like in the beginning of October, got the sonogram, and then it was literally the day before Halloween of junior year, we did the biopsy. And I remember seeing the doctor for the first time before the biopsy and him being like, so it could be cat scratch fever or sarcoma.
What is cat scratch fever?
It's scratched by a fucking cat.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't have a cat. I don't have a cat. So I was like, okay, yeah, we can.
It's definitely not.
So it's that or like cancer. I'm like, okay, like wait a. But of course, at the time, I didn't even know what sarcoma was.
Yeah.
I was just like, it sounds complicated. Like what? I had no idea.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we end up going through with the biopsy. I've said this hundreds of times. And that's the other thing. I feel like people are always like, if you're okay to talk about it. And I'm like, I love to talk about it.
No, I know.
I feel like I'm advocating. She's my bitch now.
Yeah.
And we'll never see her again. So, anywho, I got the biopsy done. And I was supposed to be in like a twilight, which is not fully under anesthesia.
Oh, so like you're still awake.
You probably won't remember it and like you're not really aware what's going on. Okay, correct. But you're not fully under. So that's what was supposed to happen. And I went and the anesthesiologist wasn't there. And the doctor looked at me. And this different doctor than the one I saw. This was the one that would just actually be doing the procedure.
Okay.
And I don't think they worked hand in hand. I think this was just a doctor that could do the biopsy to send it back to my main doctor. And honestly, I don't even know what kind of a doctor
he was.
He was.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's really cool. You think I would know. The doctor looked at me, who was doing the procedure, and was like, if you were my daughter, I wouldn't do this. It's not cancer. You don't have cancer. The odds of that are so slim. Don't do it. Like, you don't need to go through with this. And I was like, well, I can't sleep at night knowing that I have these bumps on my neck.
And it's definitely not cat scratch fever. Right. So, like, this is my other option.
I remember looking at the doctor. Keep in mind, I'm 16 at the time.
At this age, you don't know what you should and shouldn't be doing medical wise. Like, I don't know now at 23 what I should be doing, let alone when I'm a teenager.
Nor did my parents know.
Yeah.
And also it's like, I didn't really have my own say.
Yeah.
But whatever I said, my mom said. Do you know what I mean? Because under 18, it's what my parents want. Exactly. But she would look at me and just like, what do you want to do about it?
Yeah.
And I just remember looking at the doctor and be like, we're doing it. I will be awake. I don't care.
Yeah.
And this was just the start of like, I feel like that was the first step in this whole thing where I was setting myself up to better myself, if that makes sense. Like I was trying
you just wanted
to reach an end result.
Yeah. You just wanted to know what's up. Like clearly something's wrong. People keep telling me nothing's wrong. But like, you know your body better than anyone.
Yeah, I just can't believe he said that.
That's crazy.
Because
I didn't know that.
Of what's to come. So we had one lymph node picked out from the ultrasound. Okay. I might have said sonogram earlier. I don't really know. Ultrasound.
It's the same
thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, God, you think I'd be a genius in this? And I am not in this one, though. To an extent. So I'm wide awake. My mom's there. There's supposed to be 2 doctors in the room. There was just one. And they're going in my neck with a clamp going in my neck, clipping the lymph node and pulling it back out.
Oh my God.
There was one that we had picked out that the doctor was supposed to do. And he did the wrong one. And no anesthesiologist, obviously wide awake. And I just remember, and I have specific pictures of this, like the blood is just like pooling onto the floor and my mom is cleaning it up. And I have pictures. What? Yeah. I have pictures of my mom's hand over the area that he just clipped out because he wasn't clotting it. You know what I mean? He wasn't putting pressure on it for it to clot. Like my mom was cleaning up the blood on the floor.
That is the most I did not know this story. That is the most wild.
And that's why I look back at my Finsta and I have these pictures of
oh my God. My mom's hand. You didn't
know. Because so anyways, the results came back as inconclusive. And you know, it's at that stage, who knows if it was in my bloodstream by then and it wouldn't have come up no matter if he did the right lymph node or not. Yeah. But in my head, all I can think about is, okay, well, he fucked it up. I mean, that's all of this is malpractice. Are you kidding?
No, yeah.
Like telling me not to do it, not having the doctor there, let alone my mom cleaning it up. That's
wild.
Insane.
It's
literally
wild.
Insane.
Yeah.
And anyways, you know, jumping to when I got diagnosed, it was stage 4. They don't really stage childhood cancers. I'm not totally sure why. I just think it's harder to tell. But I asked her, like, compare it. You know, I feel like I'm older than young kids. And she was like, I'd compare it to stage 4. Thinking back, you know, at that time, if he would have done the right one, once again, who's to say it would have came back as cancer? It could have still been in my body, but that's still just what runs through my mind all the time. That was in October. And then the leg pains. So mine was just like free floating cancer cells. That was my cancer all throughout my body, eating away at my bone, muscle, and tissue. So it started at the end of September was the really bad leg pain. I remember not sleeping the night of homecoming because I was just up like kicking and shaking my legs because like they hurt so bad. I took like 4 Advil and then was like dizzy because like I weighed like 105 at the time and had like too much in me. Yeah. And I remember too, like just switching back and forth between like Advil and Aleve, ibuprofen, like none of it was doing it. And I took like 3 Aleve one day at school and like could not function. I was like so dizzy. I felt like fucked up before I was like, you know, getting fucked up. And I was just like, this isn't right. Yeah. Anyways, the really bad leg pain came like October, November, December. And like there were spurts of it. I couldn't sleep. So it was pretty early on. Yeah. But November, December was when like I would scream at night. My mom would get this homeopathic rub, kind of like icy hot or like biofreeze, whatever they call it. Yeah.
And so, this is before any diagnosis.
Right. This was like, I mean, I was on drill team and I was doing everything. That Thanksgiving of 2017 was when I ran like the fastest turkey trot ever.
Really?
And I had like stage 3 cancer and just didn't know it.
When you were doing drill team and dancing and when you were running, did you feel the pain then? Or it was just like you kind of like fought through it?
I think I fought through it and it just felt like now, oh my God, I would rush to the ER and pay whatever it is. Yeah. But then you don't think this is cancer. Yeah. And, you know, I was a competitive gymnast for 10 years. So it was just, everybody kept telling me like, oh, it's just your body, like, you know, the trauma from like all the pounding and.
But you're 16.
Yeah, I'm 16.
That should happen when you're maybe like
and my
in
brother
your 40s.
did gymnastics for 10 years and was 18. Why isn't he having this? Why are no other gymnasts having this? Yeah. I would get massages at the chiropractor twice a week. It's insane just thinking of how we could have caught it and I wouldn't have been in this pain. But
and not to mention you had doctors telling you that it's not cancer.
Yeah.
So what else are you supposed to think?
Right. Or don't go through with this. And then I'm going against what my doctor is saying.
Exactly.
For it to be wrong. And then I'm sitting here thinking like, oh, well, maybe it is nothing. Yeah. Even though I knew in my never ever would anybody who has not gone through cancer or like experienced cancer in their family just be like, oh shit, it's cancer. Yeah. You don't think of that. No. You never think it's going to be you until it is. Yeah. Same with a house burning or like a tornado hitting your house.
No,
like,
exactly.
Things like that. Like you don't think it's you until it is. Anyways, November, December go by. And this is just when like I can't walk down the stairs. And my dad used to, and like no shame, no what. He used to call me Granny because I just used to like limp everywhere. Yeah. And he was like, oh, Granny's coming down the stairs, like, yada, yada. And like, you know, we don't talk about this. It's not that big of a deal because like he will cry sitting here telling me like, Skylar, I feel so bad. Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah. Just kind of like. None of y'all had any idea though.
Joking through it. We had no idea. And I used to be a hypochondriac, I won't lie. So nobody really took me that seriously. I'm not gonna lie. And that's not their fault. And once again, we don't talk about it. I'm not trying to shame them for my over dramaticness. But now, oh my God, I have a cough and everybody's like, are you okay? Are you okay? Well, then it was like, yeah, Skylar was just being dramatic. So it made sense for everybody to kind of like act that way.
Yeah.
Until, let's see, I remember December 5th, 2017, being at school and just not being able to focus because I was in so much pain that my mom picked me up and we went to the ER. Okay. And we had just got new insurance in December.
Okay.
So we were like, let's do it. I went to Legacy ER and got an x-ray of my back, IV, I remember still having videos now of them like checking me for the flu and me being like, yep, my legs hurt because it's the flu. My legs have hurt for 2 months because it's the flu, guys. Thank you. I mean, we were thinking everything mono, like what could it be? Mm-hmm. And my mom has autoimmune and rheumatoid arthritis. So at first, that's what they said. Okay. That's what it was like that route or kind of like the joint, let's really look into her back pain because it was back and leg pain. Okay. And they did an x-ray of my body and there was a shadow on my back. So first we were trying to get in touch with like arthritis, like one of those osteopath. I don't know. I don't even know the doctors, but just somebody that my mom was kind of seeing for her autoimmune and RA. Yeah. That's what we were going to go first. Okay. And then we decided to kind of look more into the shadow on my back. Mm-hmm. And this is when, so the doctor that I saw at Care Now for the physical had his own private practice, Madera Clinic in Little Elm and Prosper. Trevor Huber is the best.
Shout out.
Literally he saved my life. We did an MRI with him and this is when it lit up on my back and it was not a hematoma, because that's like excess blood buildup from a hemorrhage is a hematoma. So I think it was
I've had one of those before.
Hemangioma. And at the time, it was just kind of known as like extra blood vessels is all I made sense of it. Is that actually the definition of that? I have no idea. People are probably going to be like, what the fuck? That's not that. But that's what I remember it as, a hemangioma. And I remember crying because basically, it was just kind of like a benign tumor in my back. Okay. Wasn't cancerous, just kind of like extra blood vessel-y. I didn't fully understand it. And that's what they first said it was. So at first it was autoimmune RA. Yeah. Then it was a hemangioma. Okay. Whatever the fuck. And I was like, all right, we'll have to have a procedure to get the benign tumor out of my back. Sure. Yeah. I remember crying, being like, oh my God, it was so close to cancer. Like, that's crazy. Yeah. My mom, she's had just like a lot of back issues where like she had herniated discs, like her discs was rubbing together. Yeah. So she went to a doctor to get steroid shots. And he was a well-known neurosurgeon. So we went to him and he didn't take our insurance and it was better. I don't even remember what it was. It might've been like Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is like good. Mm-hmm. So I went to him. He didn't take our insurance, but he took us. I went through all December and it was also in my shoulder. So like freshman year of high school, keep in mind this is junior year, I had cold shoulder. Like I was diving for my school and I had cold shoulder. Like I couldn't move it past here. Oh, really? My shoulder.
Thought it was that?
Yeah, I thought it was cold shoulder because I eventually had worked it out. Yeah. By the time that this had come, it was like, it was over. Yeah. This was junior year. That was 2 years ago. Like I had gone to the chiropractor and had so much therapy that my shoulder was fine. Yeah. I was like doing handstands and shit. Like I was fine. Yeah. And I remember December 5th, back to the ER day, like I could not move my shoulder. This is when I was on like pain meds and like out of school for a little bit. Mm-hmm. So it was just all so weird. I was just like, what? Like this doesn't make any sense. I thought that went away.
Yeah. And like, how would that connect? Like your legs hurting?
Yeah. It didn't make sense. Yeah. And I'm not like educated clearly, like we all are now from this. Yeah. And old enough to kind of just like do my own research. For sure. And of course, you never think about that either. No. So January 16th, the day before I was diagnosed, I had gone to see the doctor. He ordered a full body MRI. Later that night, the office had closed. It was like 9 p.m. we were home, and the doctor had called my parents, like opened the imaging place back up.
Yeah.
When they were out of hours to do a full body MRI with contrast. And he wasn't saying what, but obviously if it's 9 p.m. and we're opening up, it was like a
clearly something
imaging place. Yeah. Like, you know how there's like LabCorp for blood? It was like that.
Like an x-ray scanner place. Yeah.
So, and I did it with contrast, which is where it, to my knowledge, lights up the blood or like gets rid of the veins and artery. I don't know. You see it.
Yeah, there's like different layers to the scan.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So they inject that in me. And at the end of the day, I just wanted an answer. Mm-hmm. Never would have thought it was this.
Yeah.
So I can't even tell you how I really felt.
Yeah.
I just knew my parents were freaking out.
Yeah.
And at the time, my parents weren't in a good relationship with each other. They were filing for divorce until I got sick.
Okay.
And they stayed through that.
Okay.
And then got divorced after.
Yeah.
So this January 16th, of course, I wake up January 17th. I'm going to school, and I remember walking downstairs, and I heard somebody on the phone and not really knowing too much. Mm-hmm. And I just saw tears in my dad's eyes. And the only ever time I saw him cry was when his favorite dog died. We had to put him down.
Yeah.
And I saw tears in his eyes, and I was like, okay. So I just remember being on the bottom step of the stairs. And my dad just looking at me and starting to cry and just being like, so the doctor called and said, you have cancer. And my dad's dad died to cancer.
Okay.
So I think that was just the worst thing he could have imagined. And I just remember kind of like, not like, fainting, passing out, but just like my legs went, and my dad was like, okay, let's sit down.
Yeah.
So he walked me to the chair, and I was just like, pretty much hyperventilating, like, what the fuck?
Like, no way, there's
no way, yet, like, I told you so.
Yeah.
And not at anybody in specific, well, except my fucking doctor in October.
Yeah, literally.
And everybody who didn't believe me.
Yeah.
I just didn't want something that, like, in my head wasn't intense enough for the pain that I was feeling. I was like, RA, well, then why don't other RA people be screaming in their sleep because this hurts? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yet, was I happy it was cancer? Hell no. But
you were happy to have an answer and to know that you weren't crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
making
and to have something prove your point.
Yeah.
That you were in pain.
I was relieved that the diagnosis was to the extent of the pain, to put it that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And basically from there, I mean, I remember my dad being like, of course I didn't go to school that day. I remember my dad being like, go do whatever you want. And I went to Academy and spent $1,000. And I got like boy outfits. I was just like so not there that I was just like, the shit that I bought, like it wasn't even cute. It was just like, I didn't even know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
And at the time, my mom was calling different people, different doctors, trying to figure it out. And I guess what they didn't tell me is like, they told my friends that, they were going to tell me, let's get in the car and go get ice cream. But really they were going to drive me to MD Anderson. And we were going to like move there while I would get treatment there until they realized that the treatment there was the same treatment at Children's Dallas. Yeah. It's like a very curable cancer in children. Yeah. But if it were to come back in adults, it's not easy to treat. So diffuse large B-cell, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 4, if you will. And that started my journey then. We went to Children's, and at first the doctor who did the back surgeon, neurosurgeon, said it was rhabdomyosarcoma. It's one of those, and I always get it backwards, which has a 5% survival rate.
So when they diagnosed you, it was stage 4. What was your, I guess, chances or like percentage that they gave you of living?
This is like the whole thing where my perspective changed. So first it was a sarcoma. Nobody told me 5% survival rate. Like my parents knew that, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So then I was in the hospital for 3 days. Well, they did a biopsy of one of the many tumors in my back. Went in like a week later, and it was diffuse large B-cell non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which has a 94% survival rate.
Okay.
Flipped.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that from my doctor, and my parents crying tears of joy while I'm crying because it's for sure cancer. Like all the little bit of hope that I had that it wasn't cancer, it's now certified that it is.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why the fuck are my parents hugging each other and happy right now.
Yeah.
What I didn't know is that, like, if it was that first diagnosis, I don't think I'd be here right now.
Really?
While lymphoma is the easiest childhood cancer.
Yeah.
So that was, like, the best case for that situation. And that's when my perspective changed. Little did I know I might not have made it. But although this is the worst situation because it's cancer, it was the best form of that situation.
100%. And I think it was kind of a blessing in disguise. Like, you got your answer, but then you had no idea that you had this 5% chance. And so you seeing your parents, you had no idea, like, why they were reacting the way that they were. And so, yes, it was cancer, but to know that, you know, it's curable.
I had a chance now.
Yeah.
Little did I know, because they weren't going to tell me.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I get all the time. Did you ever think you were going to die? I mean, my parents thought I wasn't going to make it at the very beginning.
Did you ever think that you were?
I don't think.
Or were there times that you, like, wanted to give up, or that you just, like, literally thought that you couldn't do it anymore?
I don't think it was like that. I think now, if I were to be hit with this, there's that, you know, realist part of me now that sees that. Anybody, whether you've had cancer or not, at 22, 23, can see both sides of it, I'm sure. But at 16, I don't think I had the mental, like, capacity to think about that. No. But the thing that got me, though, I was just like, so what if I didn't do chemo? They were like, you would have 2 to 3 months to live. Like, your body would just shut down. So that's when it's just like, and that's when I just feel like that's why I am religious in the way that I am, because I just feel like that's when I was saved. Like,
for sure,
I had all of the symptoms of this sarcoma, yet it was lymphoma. And I just remember when I was in the hospital, like, going through the biopsy and everything, my mom would just, like, scream in my room, like, God, like, this isn't happening to my daughter. Like, please save her. And I just think that that's when, like, the power of prayer changed my diagnosis. And, you know, call me crazy if you will, but I will forever believe that. And that's, like, how I feel like I was saved by Jesus.
I love that, because nobody knows your story. And, like, you have been not only just the cancer, but just the shit that you've been through in general. You have a crazy fucking life.
I do.
Like,
I fucking
it's
do.
Literally crazy. And so just being a friend and looking from the outside in and knowing things, just the way that you go about and, like, you approach situations, I admire it so much, because nobody else has been through what you've been through.
I agree. And I did 4 rounds of treatment. It was 4 or 5 months of treatment, which in the long run is not that crazy. Like, I know people fighting for 5 years and they're still fighting. So, of course, it doesn't make it any less, but it's the best maybe situation it could have been. Besides, you know, being like in all that pain before
100%,
before finding out and everything. And then the whole lawsuit thing, like, at the time when I was cancer free, so I was diagnosed January 17, 2018, cancer free May 16, 2018. So I remember being like, okay, do I want to go through this lawsuit? Potentially. But at the time I was just wanting to put it, you know, I'm alive. I beat that. Thank God I'm here. Let's move on. I did not want to be in that cancer world anymore. I was out of it. And how do you go out of that? That was the hardest thing. Leaving the doctors, I was scared. I felt safe there. I would go home. I was terrified. It's like I wanted to be back in the hospital because that's all I knew. And that's, like, horrifying. And I think, like, one of the main things, so I was, you know, cancer free. And then I had my whole senior year of high school. And then I went to college. And senior year, I was in this relationship, was not healthy by any means, and was then, you know, we went to college. And I think the thing that is what I want to get out there is, like, nobody will ever understand the mindset I was in. Just like, I beat this. You know, I felt like I have just a lot going for me in general, but now I just beat cancer. You know, I just got out of, like, a toxic relationship. Like, you can't kill me. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to say what I want. I will act however I want, because I don't give a fuck. I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. Neither do you. So let's ball out, to sum it up. And that is exactly what I did.
100%.
And I think I got a lot of shame for that, because nobody could even be mature enough at that age, not in a shaming way, but nobody had the capacity at 17, 18, 19 to understand, oh shit, she just went through cancer. Like, she's deflecting all that now.
No, and I even think, like, we went through a period of time for like 6 months where we didn't talk, and I don't think that I realized, because I was not trying to mom you in a sense, but I think I thought I was trying to be like a good friend and like be there for you and, you know, have your back. But now when I look at it, it's like I had no place because I literally had no idea what you had just gone through and like what your mindset was. And so I feel like there was a lot of like maturing on my end that I had to do because I'm like, I have no say in your life because I mean, I can be there for you, but like I have no room.
But that was just tricky though for everybody because I wasn't living the life that was right for me.
Yeah.
Just because I beat cancer doesn't mean now I'm going to go do X, Y, and Z and throw it all away.
Yeah.
And I just felt like my reputation after freshman year was nothing like I wanted it to be. I felt like I constantly had to be like, I had cancer. Like that kind of was who I was at that time and just felt like I had to prove to everybody what I had gone through without the understanding that nobody's going to understand it like I do and nobody will.
I don't think anybody can put themselves in your shoes, not just the cancer stuff, but like there were other things going on too behind the scenes that like nobody knew. Yeah. And so the judgment and stuff that you were getting from other people.
It's just like, why? Like, I just did this incredible thing.
Yeah.
Let me do what I want.
Yeah.
Yet I was so fixed on just being and still that went on for many years. Not that way that I was acting, just wanting to be liked by so many people, yet not understanding my actions or that they will never care to understand where I'm coming from. No, and it's not my job to prove my story to anybody that doesn't want to listen.
No, exactly. And I think your story is rather than like use it to inspire people, but it was more so like, I fucking did this, so I'm going to live my best life and do whatever I want.
I'm going to get wasted. I'm going to kiss this person. I'm going to say whatever I want, and you can't tell me not to because did you just have cancer? And and that's not the way I would go about it now. But 18-year-old Skylar didn't know any better.
No, That's totally fair, though.
Yeah,
like,
it is. It's totally fair. And out of a relationship, like, shit.
Oh, yeah. And it's like, nobody, like, knows how they would react in that situation. No. Especially because you were so young when you were diagnosed. Like, I feel like because you got diagnosed in high school, like, a lot of that part of your life got cut short.
Absolutely.
So it was almost like you wanted to continue living, like, you wanted to kind of like expand that from high school into college because you missed out on a lot.
Yeah, I want to touch on like survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
I never totally have that. Honestly, I remember the day that I was cancer free, I got a vape the day I was cancer free, and I still associate this guilt feeling. Yeah. And I think that's why when I'm sober and I will like rip a vape, I get anxiety. And I think it ties back to 5.5 years ago, me laying in my room the day I was cancer free, thinking like people are fighting for their lives, yet I'm ripping nicotine that at the end of the day can cause another form of cancer. And it made me feel sick, and it still does. Yeah. Survivor's guilt on why did I survive and others didn't. I don't really think about it like that. I think God has a plan for me in the way that I can give back. Like, so my slogan was "Sky's the limit." One of my best friend's best friend came up with that, and I have it tattooed right here.
And the t-shirts were yellow.
T-shirts were yellow.
You didn't get the memo. Yellow is Sky's favorite color.
Oh, absolutely.
Your car's yellow too.
My car's yellow. My slippers are yellow. I don't know what you want about it. I have a cancer ribbon on my wrist that's yellow. At first, we thought it was bone cancer, and bone cancer is yellow. Okay. So we associated it and made all these ribbons with yellow. And then it found out to be lymphoma, because it wasn't bone cancer. It wasn't in my bones. It was eating at my bones. So the pain of breaking a bone 24/7. That's why I was hysterical. I can't even imagine. Yeah. So that was probably like the number one pain. The number two pain is the mouth sores. So chemo kills all of your good bacteria too. Yeah. So you don't have any of the good saliva killing the bad, stuff in your mouth. Your mouth is like a very, it's full of bacteria.
Germy place.
And it would just basically be like all covered in this white film, and it would be strings.
I remember you showing me like
sides of my mouth, down my throat. Yeah. It's a common side effect from chemo, and it was horrible. And I have really bad OCD and anxiety, and I would just want to scrape them off, get rid of them, and then I'd be gushing blood. Based on the survivor's guilt, I would say that's not struggle with.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like I am the type of person to turn anything negative into something good.
Yeah. 100%.
And for example, if this didn't happen to me, I wouldn't be able to advocate for it like I do, have Sky's the Limit gift drive, and give back to help others in a way. So your port is basically, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, which is maybe fine. It's a little scar right there. Everybody thinks it's a hickey. It's not a hickey. It's not a hickey. Is that a hickey? I'm like, yeah, on my upper chest.
You never know.
You never know. Really, you never know. Anyways, so instead of accessing like, having a PICC line in your arm or your hand, the veins around your heart are stronger and pump through your blood faster.
Yeah.
Especially on the right side.
So that's where your chemo port is.
Yes. Okay. So it's this like purple plastic thing is under your skin with a tube connecting to your vein.
Okay.
So you like puncture, what do you get a PICC line in? You
prick your vein?
Yeah.
Stick your vein?
Yeah. You stick
the vein.
You insert a PICC line.
Okay.
Through my port. It goes through the plastic thingy. It goes into there. So you numb it. Yeah. It goes into there. And then it goes, the medicine or whatever, the fluid, saline, will go through that line to your vein.
Okay.
And it's just like a better accessible way. And you have your port in all the way until you're cancer-free and not needing treatment. And that's what my scar is, the scar from, putting it in and taking it out. Yeah. And basically, I created Sky's Limit gift drive with my friend Sophia Broadwater, who also had a type of lymphoma. I just had the second annual, I can now say like annual because it can't be first annual. But I know, second annual gift drive. And basically, we raise money through a GoFundMe, and then Soph and I both go and shop for gifts that we would have wanted in the hospital. She was at an adult hospital because her cancer was so rare, so she picks for those, those people. And I, being at Children's Hospital, which you can still be treated at until like 23, every time I got my port accessed, I would get to pick a prize, and that's where all of my gifts go. Is to the prize closet.
I love that. Okay, so you do it every December.
Every December. I just feel like it's like the season of
giving and
and I had somebody else, Brendan, has his gift drive, and we kind of just like went off of that, timing wise. Yeah. That's just something to like just fun for us. Like we just get to have Sky's the Limit account and go shop for things that we would have wanted. Like I just bought Beats, Kindles, Fitbits, like really cool stuff. Because when I was in there, it was all baby things. Yeah. So there was no hats that fit my head because they were all for infants. So
I'll link everything in the description for the GoFundMe and also the Instagram account too. So you should go follow and donate if you so feel like it.
On the topic of vaping or like smoking, everybody seems to be so surprised by Skylar maybe vaping or cigs. Like, no, I mean, did I have an internship in Italy and smoke a little too many cigs? Yeah. But my theory,
Italy, like, come on.
My theory is like, I didn't beat that to now live in fear. Yeah. I'm not going to live in fear. No. My odds of having cancer are the same as you right now. Mine are just stronger that we know what kind of cancer it's going to be. Yeah. I'm not going to live in fear. Am I not going to use deodorant for breast cancer? No. Am I not going to drink Diet Coke because there's aspartame that can cause cancer? No. Yeah. I did that shit. I beat my fucking case. Yeah. I did the race. Yeah. I didn't do that shit. I didn't do that shit to sit here and beat myself up about it. Yeah. Is there right things to do? Is vaping and smoking cigs good? No. Do I do that on a daily basis? No. Smoke cigs? Fuck no. Like that is like, I got to be really fucked up to do that. Do you know what I mean? Like there are certain things that I'm not going to do, but also you can't 100%. Look at me and tell me that you would live your life any different after that. Why would I? All I want to do is be normal.
No, exactly. And it's like you never asked to get cancer, so why should you act any different than you would on
the consequences?
Yeah, exactly.
Am I more aware? Absolutely. Do I try and be healthier and like, I need to do exercise is huge. Like my teeth are going to potentially decay faster than anybody else's would. Yeah. I got to make sure I go to the dentist all the time. Like I have to build up the bone that I lost, which I do now. Yeah. So I have to run more than they use. You know what I mean? Like there's little things like that. Yeah. I have to get my heart checked every 5 years because one of the chemos can mess with your heart. Like there's different things like that. Yeah. Am I going to go smoke cigs? No. Am I going to like own a vape? No. Yeah. But am I going to live my life? Absolutely.
as you should. Cancer shouldn't dictate how you live the rest of your life.
Exactly.
The fact that you beat it and are still here.
Yeah.
Cheers to you, babe.
Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Thank you.
I do want to talk about some of the fun things that we did in college.
Yes.
So
My
Skylar.
Were you there that night?
Yeah, no, I wasn't there. I was there the next morning.
Day when we went. Okay.
So it is the night before a game day.
We were celebrating Halloween.
I didn't go out with you. It was a Friday night that it happened. Yeah, so Skylar goes out and
2019.
Yeah.
So it's like a year of cancer.
Freshman year of college.
First semester. This is before I had gone crazy.
Yeah. Skylar and I are going to the game together the next day.
Right.
She shows up to my dorm room.
Bent. And
your stomach was so bloated.
Yeah.
It literally looked something had pumped your stomach up.
Yes.
And you were complaining about all of this pain. And I was like, well, what happened? So
let me tell you. Once again, this stems from me being like, fuck it, you can't kill me. I'm indestructible. Bitch. I was with Aaron, somebody who introduced us.
Yeah. We met at a frat party.
Yeah.
No, we met on the lawn at Bid Day, which we'll get to that too.
That was wild. Oh my God, yeah. This might have actually been Halloween. I was dressed up as an alien, super original, and was at this party. Me, Aaron, and Maddie. I have no idea how I get there, and we do not know anybody there. I mean, anybody. I couldn't tell you, what we were even doing. It seemed like it was a haunted house, just so foggy. I have no idea. I just remember feeling like hot shit at this party.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get up on the counter and dance. And now in our sorority, you could not get on elevated surfaces until you were initiated.
And we didn't get initiated until October?
Yeah, so this was after that. Yeah. We were just initiated. So I was like,
I can stand on elevated surfaces.
Please bring me to an elevated surface, if you will. It is as I'm like a fucking alien. All right. Yeah. So Aaron lifts me up on the counter probably about 4 times, up, down, just throwing ass terribly. Let me add. It had to have been. So I'm up there and I just remember probably for the 5th time needing Erin to boost me again. And she boosts me a little too much. Not by any means is this her fault. I had asked to get up there way too many times. And I'm up on this counter. It's very skinny. Erin lifts me a little too much. And I'm either going, I was going to fall over. I was going to fall off onto the ground or I was going to fall onto the counter.
Yeah.
And I made the decision to fall onto the counter. I just remember looking down and seeing 10 empty beer bottles.
Glass bottles.
Beer bottles. No top on them. I fell. If this was them, I just fell like this. All
stomach,
all 10
belly flopped onto
them.
Glass beer bottles.
And I just remember being not being able to move. No, they did not break. And that's what everybody can't seem to wrap their head around. They didn't break and there was no puncture on the outside. I was not bleeding. Okay. And that's why I was what the fuck? Fucked. Another internal issue, goddammit. Just show me something on the outside, would you? Let me have a wound or something. Just show me. So I remember and sleeping in a guy's dorm that night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And him trying to kiss me and I'm like, you motherfucker, I can't move. Let me climb up your bed though. Let me climb up to the top bunk. What the fuck? They had to carry me out. I go home with this guy. I do the walk of shame in the morning, hunched over, pants inside out, alien ears in my hands. And the cop were like, are you good? The cop that was meaty, doing traffic was like, are you good? I'm like, no, I'm not fucking good. I need a ride to my dorm.
My liver is bleeding.
Yeah. So my liver. It's the next day, and I just have bruises of the top of these beer bottles.
Me, what the fuck happened last night?
And I'm okay, but in my head, and this is where cancer comes into play. In my head, if it's not cancer,
I'm fine.
I'm not going to the doctor.
Yeah,
right. So then I go. Saturday is game day. This happened to Friday night. This is Saturday. It's game day. Well, I just get absolutely wasted Saturday night and lose my purse with my ID that I would need for the hospital.
Yeah.
So I wake up Sunday and I have to wait to get my purse from the frat house from this stupid guy that was golfing and, didn't give a fuck about if I needed to get into his room or not to get my fucking purse. So I had to wait to go to the hospital because I knew I needed to go now. My stomach was huge. I go to the ER and we do a CAT scan, CT, and basically I was internally bleeding. I had lacerated my liver. I do quotes because that word we just like joke about now.
Yeah, it's funny. It's an inside joke now.
Like you hear football players getting lacerated blank, lacerated liver.
Sure.
I Googled how do you lacerate any body part from gunshot wounds, stabbing, or car crashes. Yeah. So
and
basically
hers was beer
bottles at a party on Halloween that I still continued to drink on the next day.
Yeah.
I was internally bleeding in the ICU for 3 days. And the bleeding had stopped on its own. It was like a 3 out of 5 incision kind of thingy.
Yeah.
Like
shit's wild.
The third worst pain of my life besides the leg pains from cancer and the mouth sores from cancer. The fucking liver, like my organ pain, was open.
Yeah.
Cut open. I learned, well, now I'm not going to be stupid and beat cancer to die from something else. Was really the main takeaway.
100%.
Thankfully, I went to the doctor and the bleeding had stopped. But if it hadn't, that was another near-death experience where I would have internally bled out. Yeah. Because I was too badass to go to the hospital, right? Because it wasn't bad enough as cancer. My parents were like, you're not taking care of yourself. I was just going buck wild.
That is the perfect word to describe it. Yeah. Like Taylor Kniff buck wild.
Yes. And I don't blame you. Getting by, honestly, and not doing well. So now, sophomore year, junior year, I feel like I have started to get my shit together. Yeah. For sure. And just kind of realize all the consequences of my actions, that nobody has to take me seriously like I do. Nobody owes me anything. I had studied abroad. This is the fucking shit that happens. So let's see. I go to study abroad going into senior year, following junior year, going into senior. I go and study abroad 5 weeks. I'm in grad school for speech language pathology. You have to get your master's. So that's what we're working with. That's what we're working towards. And at the time I had a speech internship in Italy. Ironically enough, no, I don't know Italian. So what the fuck? On my way to France with my dad, where we were going first, they lost my luggage. British Airways, bullshit Airways. I never got it back. Story of my goddamn life. And of course, I packed the most valuable shit. In that being my retainers. Was I in Italy over my 21st birthday for 5 weeks with none of my shit or nobody that I knew or a language to speak? Correct. It's like, ciao bella. Yeah, ciao bella. So that was the biggest learning experience ever. Just learning that I am a lot more than, physical shit. As much as, we love our outfits and everything. It's
also don't pack your most valuable things.
Do not do it.
Unless you have it in your carry-on.
And if you take medications, put them in your carry-on.
You didn't have your medication?
No, I did. Thank God. I would have had to go back. Good. I would have had to go back to the US if I didn't.
No, yeah, that would have been a bad situation.
Very bad. And my makeup and all that shit. So that could have been another lawsuit, but whatever. Me and my lawsuits. So I get new retainers before school starts. I hadn't worn it too much until the week of recruitment. I remember putting my retainer in, and I have this habit, and we all joke about it, and it's all fun and games when I say it, but it really upsets me a lot. I eat in the middle of the night, and it's one of
she'll send pictures, and she'll have a whole bag of granola just
in my bed, dispersed throughout my bed. Yeah, it's bad. In my armpit. I'm how did that get there?
Or a chocolate fudge sickle
all over me. And my boyfriend wakes up and the wrapper is stuck to his arm. I have insomnia. I take meds to sleep, and one of them, it makes night eating a thing. Let me preface, night eating is real. It's not all made up in your head. So it just feels like this insane urge to, it's like I'm craving for how people fiend for nicotine. It's like feeding for food. So thank God in the middle of the night, I had taken my retainers out and I ate. So I only had my retainers in for 2 hours. Yeah. And I wake up the next day and the roof of my mouth hurting pretty bad. And all we're doing is talking. It's just what we're so good at. One of our friends was in nursing school, is now a nurse. Eden, love you. Nurse Eden, I was look at my mouth. And it was this blue spot in between the back of my front 2 teeth, the gum that meets those teeth was blue and purple. And then it started turning a little white. We had bid day. And I remember waking up the day after bid day in so much pain. And this thing started to grow. So basically I had pressure necrosis, another fucking term that I didn't need to know, in my mouth from my retainer being too tight. I guess they fucked up on the mold. A third lawsuit I could have done, but not worth my time. Basically, my gum fell out of my mouth. It was so bad and painful that it separated my front 2 teeth. And I had 6 years of braces. So this isn't something slight. You know, it's not like my teeth were already fucked up or like
thousands of dollars that have just gone like down the drain.
Absolute years. I ended up coming home that weekend because I was in so much pain. And I went to the doctor and I was like, look at this. So I had to go to like oral surgeons, and basically it just all turned white and fell out. And
it was decaying in her mouth.
Yeah.
That's fucking wild.
Just being a circumstance that we're talking about where
when I say like
shit of these sticks, and I got my wisdom teeth out and they didn't give me a syringe, so my gums were trying to heal over a fucking meal of food in the sockets. Only me.
I literally haven't met anyone
with this many like health concerns.
It's like multiple times a year.
Yeah, back to back. I'm like, fuck, are we gonna be all right this year? Like, what's coming?
2024 is your year, Sky.
Because I was like, cancer, got it out of the way, and then I'm like, pressure necrosis, okay, got it out of the way. Yeah. And I'm like, my wisdom teeth sockets, okay, I'm fucking done. I'm done. But the way that I go about it now is just like, you know, after the liver situation and everything that has come since then, any major or minor thing, like when I had a really weak immune system freshman year and I had bronchitis all the time, it was just like, okay, well, it's not cancer. So that doesn't mean it doesn't suck. I'm going to be okay.
You just have a different outlook.
Yeah.
From all the shit
now
that
my
you've been
outlook
through.
is like, you know, I've been through the pain before cancer. A lot of people get cancer and go through all these like painful experiences.
Yeah.
I was a lot more painful before. And that's when it's hard to relate my situation to other situations because they were totally fine until one day, you know, it was kind of like a relief for me from all that pain. And as soon as I had one IV of chemo, it went away.
Really?
All my pain.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank God though, because like I would see the videos on your Finsta and it was
so bad.
Yeah.
Just misery.
Yeah.
And it brings about these situations now when the gum fell out of my mouth. Well, at least it's not cancer.
Yeah.
At least something's falling out and it's not my hair.
Different ways to think of your mindset about things is just so motivating to other people because like
thank you.
Me complaining about the smallest of things like, oh, I live at home with my parents, like my life sucks. It could be worse. It could be a lot worse. And
that's what's hard for me though, is in the beginning when any of my friends would complain about something, it was an attack at them basically. And it almost felt like if somebody was complaining about having a bad hair day and I'm over here having a buzz cut, well, at least you have hair. Yeah. But I had to realize that, okay, that's not what they're saying.
Yeah.
Just because I have this life altering crisis where I was literally on my deathbed doesn't mean that just because my best friend is having a bad hair day doesn't mean that she's not insecure because of that or just what she stubbed her toe and it's gushing blood. That doesn't mean she's not hurting. So I had to really stop comparing anybody else's situation to mine and almost making them feel guilty because that is never healthy in relationships.
Yeah.
Secondly, when it comes to the liver thing, just because it's not cancer doesn't mean it's not allowed to suck.
Yeah.
I can be cancer-free and have pain and be sad.
So Skylar was a Make-A-Wish kid.
I was a Make-A-Wish.
What was your wish?
I went to Greece for 10 days with my mom and my best friend over my 18th birthday following my graduation from high school.
Yeah.
So I had cancer junior year of high school. Senior year happened. My hair was like in a cute little, I always had it half up, half down, like slicked back with gel.
It was so cute though.
It was cute. Clips, anything. I always recommend that if anybody like is having their hair grow back. And I was just always like, I look like a boy. Gel, honestly, is your best friend, especially now with like slick backs and shit. You can totally do that. How to make a wish if you're under the age of 18, if you have a traumatic experience like an illness or something like that, and you're under 18, you get a Make-A-Wish, and really you can do whatever, go wherever, experience whatever, as in meet like a musical artist.
I see videos of that all the time. They're so
have a day with the president. I just wanted something that no matter how much money I had, I wouldn't be able to do. Yeah. Because the one thing I was thinking of doing was like meeting Chris Brown or meeting Gunna, shit like that. Because I love them. I wanted to do something that I would always cherish.
An experience.
Yeah. And I'd never been out of the country. So I went to Greece. I went to Santorini and Mykonos, which of course, at the time I felt like I was the first one to do, but of course other people were doing it too.
No, that's so cool.
I remember there were Frisco girls like that I knew at the time that I was on my Make-A-Wish and they were on like their family vacation.
Oh, really?
And I was like, okay, that's sick. Following, I got back from that and then we were going through recruitment.
We went to the University of Arkansas. We were both Zetas. Mine was by choice. And
Skylar's was by default.
Yeah.
Kaio's philanthropy is Make-A-Wish. Zeta's philanthropy is breast cancer.
Yes.
I wanted Kaio more than anything because of the bond that I feel like I had created with them, which, I mean, sounds so silly to those that, like, are not for recruitment. I understand. But also the Make-A-Wish, like, I was the poster child for them.
No, literally. And like when you have
just gotten back.
And I don't think people understand, like, when you're going through recruitment, a lot of people, like, I related to breast cancer very heavily because my aunt and my grandma both had breast cancer. So I loved Zeta's philanthropy, and that's how I connected with them. So when you're going through these rounds during recruitment, you really connect during this round. Like, I cried. I'm sure you cried. Like, so the fact that you were literally a poster child and their philanthropy was Make-A-Wish.
I had gotten back from mine, like, 15 days before I was there.
Yeah.
And anyways, I prefed them, which means they were my number one choice and Zeta was my number two choice. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the sorority has the choice over the people that are going through recruitment.
And typically, I say typically, you don't take girls all the way through to pref round if you're not going to take them. Like, pref round is pretty much like, yes, the sororities are making their cuts, but by this point, they know whether they want you or not. So it's ultimately the girls' decision if they want you as a sorority or not.
Right.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you fucking think that that's how it would go.
Yeah, you would think.
And I remember just feeling so confident with Kaio because of Make-A-Wish. And I'm not like I'm not a big crier unless I'm like sick or it's my anxiety OCD that I just like can't deal with. You really won't catch me crying. And I remember just like crying there and just feeling like so, I don't know, connected. Like, how could this not be my place? It's what I wanted. And
I mean, what else would you think?
I opened my card on bid day and it was Zeta, and I remember just like absolutely bawling, feeling like, you know, a little bit of like betrayal, of course.
Yeah.
And thankfully, you know, I just another like godsend. Like, I was in Zeta for a reason. I can happily say that it was for the better.
I think so too. It's just mind blowing that, you know, like, you were a poster child.
If it's not me, then who is it?
No. Yeah.
Like, as petty and like all publicity sororities are, why would you not want me?
I'm gonna give my Rise rec, and then I'm gonna have Sky give her rec as well. Ours are kind of on the same wavelength. So Sky mentioned, you know, how running, she likes working out and stuff, and it helps her, and she has to do more than like the average. Something that I just got introduced to through Emma, actually, it was the Strava app.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Strava app you can download, and it's basically like a social media for your runs or your workouts, and like you can follow people, you can post pictures, you can post like how many miles you did, bike rides, whatever.
All so it's workouts. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, same. I'm very new to it, but it's just like a fun app that you can connect with your friends and random people. Workouts. Yeah, share workouts. So that's my Rise rec. Yeah.
I just deal with a lot of anxiety. We both do.
Yeah.
OCD is more my main thing. And I just, you know, have to work out to be able to enjoy the rest of my day.
Yeah.
And due to senior year living with Madison Odom.
Shout out, girl. If you're
Shout out Fit with Mads.
I'll link her Instagram for y'all. She's so big.
She's how, like, I probably lost like 5 to 10 pounds within the year of like doing her HIIT workouts, high intensity interval training.
Yeah.
I love the app. I don't know how to say it. Tabata or Tabata?
Tabata.
I call it Tabata too.
Tabata.
Tabata. And basically it's a timer app that she put me on, and you'll see if you go to her Instagram, it's like, basically it's just, you set up, it's just for HIIT workouts. So like I'll do 45 seconds on of an exercise, 10 seconds off, and I'll do that 10 times. And then I'll do that set of 10 3 times. Yeah. So it's a 30-minute HIIT of weight training, strength training. And basically, it's just like a really easy app.
And it just like keeps track, so you don't have to continuously. Because my biggest pet peeve when I'm working out and I have to like go reset my timer, like it's a constant timer that's going, so you don't have to like go back and reset or stop your timer. Like it'll
you
keep
can
going.
Do 3 sets at once and say like, hey, a minute between after I'm done with 10 exercises a minute, I just do it set by set. So I do one set, take as long as I need, do the other set, yada yada. So anyways, it's just like a good way to like get up, get active, stay fit. Of course, that's like
2024.
Very important for everybody's mental health, but especially like a cancer survivor. Like I have to like keep up with that more than the usual. Yeah. But it's also the way that I get rid of my stress and everything. So it's awesome. Well, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for coming on. This was so fun. You're my first guest. So
yay.
I just want to say thank you, Sky, for coming on and sharing your story.
I'm happy to. Thank you for having me.
You're the strongest person I know, and I love you so much.
I love you too. I'm so excited for you in this.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for episode 3, and I'll see you next Tuesday.